Welcome to Launch Today, the podcast focused on what it takes to get your new business to $1 million or more in revenue. From marketing tactics to incredible guest interviews, we focus on sharing behind-the-scenes insights from masters in their field. If you want to grow the revenue for your startup or your new business, you don't want to miss today, because today's guest has built a massive influencer marketing platform across 22 countries. Alexander Frolov is the CEO and co-founder of HypeAuditor, a leading influencer marketing platform trusted by thousands of brands worldwide, with a database of over 200 million creators. Under his leadership, HypeAuditor has been recognized by Forbes as one of America's best startup employers and has earned numerous G2 awards, including Leader for EMEA and Europe in 2024. Alexander, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for such a warm introduction. Glad to be here today. And hello, everyone. Hope today's conversation will be helpful.
I hope it will too. I always like to begin by asking, why do you do what you do?
Actually, it's somehow naturally for me because in the beginning of my career, I'm not even thinking about being manager, not like CEO, but somehow it goes naturally. I see something goes wrong in the processes, see something could be done better, and I just can't sit on the chair while something happened, and we'll fix it here, we will make it better there. And then somehow I became manager and grew to the C-level roles, so that, and then somehow founded my own company. Right? And in terms of the company, why we're doing it in the field of the influencer marketing, because probably it's one of the most exciting shifts in economy in the world at the moment, and it's great to be a part of it. Maybe not as exciting as AI last 2-3 years, but generally also very interesting movement of change in the world, and it's great to be a part of it.
So, algorithm changes are killing creators and brands left and right. Instagram's pushing video first, LinkedIn's pushing video first, TikTok shifting, YouTube's algo changes. How do you keep brands able to use that 200 million creator network successfully when it's a moving target on every platform all the time? Like, how do you keep on top of that?
For us, it's much easier because we are like a tech provider and it's their target to adopt ours. We kind of more connecting them. But generally, I think it's in human nature kind of complain about the changes. But generally, always there is somebody who loses and somebody who wins when the things are changing. Maybe in our lifetime, they're changing a little bit faster than the previous 100 years, maybe not a little bit, maybe much more faster, but still that means the same. There are players who adopt and use it and they win, and there are players who kind of flow and they're lose. But that is how the market working, and big changes. This is the shift in platform to these interest-oriented algorithms, just creating new opportunities for companies who want to hop on this train. And I think it's an actually excellent thing to use to grow your company, not kind of some obstacle that gives you some trouble.
I think that does bring up a good point, though, which is a lot of influencers, I'll put it in quotes, influencers out there. I can buy 100,000 followers on Instagram for like $100. Like, it's really cheap to look like I've got a big following. You've got industry leading fraud detection technology. Can you give me an example of, if I'm looking at, I want to do an influencer marketing campaign, what are the red flags I should be looking for as the founder to be like, this person probably does not command the audience that they say they do?
Actually, when you use HypeAuditor, there's naturally red flags.
Literally, that's nice. Yes.
We have this audience quality score, and we just sign in it with a red when there is an issue. So for somebody who uses software, it's literally seeing a red flag. But generally, when you use influencer marketing on a scale, not 1 to 10 influencer, you basically can do it without software, because I can give you a lot of advices, but you will break your eyes trying to use them on hundreds of influencers. This is both not effective and not worth to do. I have meanwhile, recommendation for small startups, if they do not have a budget to use software like ours. And in this case, they probably working with a small amount of influencers. And in this case, best you can do is use your mouth and go for some networking. Ask your friends, ask another founders if they work with some influencers. Can they recommend somebody who already show great results to their product, and using some leg movements and the mouse movements, you can find 5 to 10 great influencers that your network is already working with, and know they're like performing good. And actually that helps you to avoid any kind of analytics you generate. See their like views, likes, numbers on their social page, but to prove that they're effective, you need to get this recommendation. But to scale these things, basically the only way is to using technology, because there is so many ways to lie to you. Everything could be bought, like followers, like engagement, views. The platforms doing their job to fight against the fraud, but still, yeah, it's a challenge of locks and locksmiths and lock pickers. It's always going on.
I definitely get the feeling that some platforms care more about fraud than others. Now, I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you to name the ones who were bad actors. I feel like that would put you in a bad place as somebody who works across all of them. Instead, let me ask you, if I am looking to run my first influencer marketing campaign, are there platforms that you tend to find work better for? Just as an example, we'll do D2C e-commerce, right? I've got a product I want people to buy as end users, priced in whatever, $100 or less, so most folks can afford to buy it. Is there a platform that you go, oh, this is where I would steer people towards? Or is it just always you've got to go see what works and then double down on that?
Actually, there is a fascinating thing about influencer marketing, because it so much depends of your product. It's much more depends on your product and how does it match like social network or format than the fraud detection and all other stuff. If I would be a D2C brand and I have like some goods with a kind of auto average check 30 to $100, for example, I would say the most massive opportunity nowadays is TikTok Shop. They're like massively growing in the United States. They're like launching in Latin America right now. And there is like many opportunities to see this growth. And actually there is a whole like new niche of the creators, because previously before TikTok, we speak about influencers like influencers, like kind of small celebrities, like you know them
Yeah.
about their personality, their lifestyle, their type of content, all the stuff. But in the TikTok stuff is different. You can just create a nice piece of content, and if it's good, algorithm give you views, give you likes, engagement, all this stuff. And that create this opportunity to average users to create the content and earn money using TikTok Shop awards programs. And for you as a D2C brand, it's also a solid opportunity to promote your goods. But you need to understand, like, any kind of influencer marketing is not a silver bullet. So your product needs to be good. If your product is good, it could be like cool amplifier. If your product is not worth it, like many people will say it, many people don't like it, actually bad comments, and you will be pretty upset. But speaking about these opportunities, yeah, so Shop definitely is the biggest one for the D2C brands. But if you, this type of brand, if you and another doing something else, maybe you need something else.
So AI influencers, I'll put the term in quotes also, right? AI influencers are definitely becoming a thing. I think I can't go more than 15 or 20 minutes if I'm on Twitter, X scrolling, or on, I don't know, Reddit looking around before I see someone saying, look, here's my NA10 workflow that uses Google VO3 to generate these videos, and I made 35 grand this weekend. And I'm like, I just, all these extreme claims being made. In the trenches, you see what real people influencers are versus what AI influencers are. Are you finding these AI influencers, do they have real audiences and real reach, or does your red flag consistently pop up with them and you're like, I'm not convinced these guys are people you want to engage with?
Actually, when we speaking about AI influencers, we need to separate things. So there is like this just AI generated automated content that basically is not influencers. So you see a lot of this stuff around TikTok when there's just random cut from the films, I don't know, from some movies
Yeah.
generated stuff. It's actually not even influencers, it's just some form of content distribution. And actually, I will think this kind of stuff platforms will block quite soon because it's like very generic and doesn't add value to the platform. And there is another type of influencers, which are like really influencers when it's like CGI with AI created personality, but they have this personality. And this thing is like massively developing. And what I could say about these influencers, like Lil Michaela, for example, they probably have like most authentic audience than we see like amongst other influencers. So they
Wow.
do not use mainly because they're like highlighted from the different angles. There are people speak a lot about these influencers. They do not use any shady practices, and a lot of their audience is organic and they are active, or they're involved, and we see the constant growth. But to understand the real number, it's still much smaller than you can expect. It's some like hundreds of famous AI influencers, not even thousands. So there's not so much of them. And there is also a lot of human work behind of this. So it's kind of act of an human art of creating this AI influencer. But definitely this part, I think it would develop and it will become easier and easier to create such influencers using all these new models. And I think there will be more and more of them. And at some point, I think it would be okay. We will just see on the profile that is like artificially created personality, and we will know that it's like this. But I think for the most people, it wouldn't be something big. Okay, doesn't matter if I like content, if I like what's happening on the screen. Do I really care? There is like a lot of movies we see in the cinema with like fully artificial characters who care about it while it's entertaining. Everybody loves it. Why not? And one last point about these courses, how to automate and earn a lot of money on the YouTube, TikTok, and so on. Do not buy them. Honestly, it's not worth it at all. Like 99% of the cases, it's like usual scam. People just trying to earn some money on you. Because when you really calculate all the stuff, you will understand you will need to pay here, pay there, and it's not for free. All the cycle costs you money. There is no guarantee you get hundreds, thousands of years, all the stuff. So basically, if they will know that there is a goal, they probably will dig it by themselves. Somebody trying to show you the goal is there. Probably they just want to get something from you.
Yeah, they're saying, hey, you can go mine gold there, just buy my pickaxe.
Yeah. So just don't believe this. If you want to really learn something, how to automate, how to create, there is a free courses by Google. They launched it not so long ago, how to come from the AI beginner to advanced AI user running all the system agents. And they're like much more useful than all those things you can buy online.
One of the things I really admire about YouTube is I am pretty sure that literally anything that any human on this planet knows how to do, you can go to YouTube and learn how to do it. There is no barrier to learning anymore except your time and your focus. And the number of like insanely in-depth solving a super technical problem YouTube videos with 47 views from some dude who's produced 600 videos with 300 subscribers is crazy, right? Like some people just want to put their stuff out there. I find it's really inspiring, I guess, some to see that we try to share this. But I do think it also leads to a lot, particularly on both ends of the bell curve, right? People who have really not influence at all, but who put content out. And then your mega influencers, both of them tend to burn out.
Mm.
And on the small end, somebody who's got 600 videos and 300 subscribers, when they burn out, you're like, you never caught. Whatever you were doing wasn't enough interesting to grab and scale. But these people who are big, when they burn out, there's a problem building and maintaining long-term relationship with these people. As either as HypeAuditor, as your platform, or working with brands who are working with influencers, how do you help keep the product, which is the influencers, from getting burned out by just what goes on in the world? There's so much going on as a creator. How do you help them by having them be part of your platform?
Yeah, actually, we just developing this part of the product. We have a product called influencers called HypeAuditor for influencers. Obvious. And there is a part of inspiration, also social networks doing this part, showing trends in reels, some other content that goes viral, kind of trying to give a piece of this inspiration with the analytic also what performs better, what performs worse. And we kind of are running this new product for influencers. So yeah, somehow we trying to do this, but generally still 80% of the weight, 90% of the weight in all of the shoulders of influencers themselves. And that's probably why this is like real profession. It's not like how people imagine this, like just chilling on the beach, drinking cocktails and money comes to you. In the real life, yeah, there is a lot of struggles. And the main thing that I see about influencers is that what we want to learn them how to be on one side consistent, but on other side be like probably a little bit more humble, because when you're an influencer, you like always participate in the growth. Like it should be like all the time while it's open, even if it's top on the high level, if you already have 1, 2 million followers, but you're not growing anymore. You start thinking, oh, what's happened with me? What's going on? Why things such terrible? And there is always this pressure. And I just want to see like more education on this, that you can relax a little bit more and some time recognize that you already did something and just keep doing without this constant pressure to grow, to be better, because it seems like it's never ending. Always trying to get to the top and more, even when they're already at the top, they're trying to get higher, and it creates sometimes even unrealistic expectations. So I hope with the education, like things become a little bit easier there.
I think speaking of education, you had your influencer marketing 2025 report, which I think that is it's a good resource, but most founders aren't going to. We're all busy. We're not going to read through anything. What is a trend that you're seeing develop that most founders are sleeping on right now that they could be using to make influencer marketing part of their marketing mix?
Actually, I would say that it was to research definitely, and now it's much easier to do when you have ChatGPT and all this stuff. You can just tell a little bit more about your company into chat, and just ask to find successful examples of the companies who run influencer marketing successfully in your niche. And it would be like most easiest way to find the trends they're using, because there are like general trends, like creating short form video content and distributing it as much as possible, because in some platforms like TikTok, it's not so much matter anymore what face are in the video, where video is cool, it could distribute pretty successful, and you just need to be like consistent, produce a lot. But I wouldn't say that these tactics would work for everyone, but definitely the trend is AI, and you can make an AI part of like your advisor on influencer marketing strategy also. Even if you do not have money, you can ask about your successful competitors in influencer marketing. You can ask what are they doing, show you examples of their successful collaborations, which influencers do they use, or maybe how they run their like social networks, what content do they post, and get pretty solid advice about the place where you need to start, where you need to like to make your first rise. And I think if you have done nothing in influencer marketing yet, this would be like extremely helpful to do first steps.
Ah, phenomenal. Yeah, I think a lot of people tried OpenAI or Anthropic a year ago, and they went, I'm not impressed. And they don't even know what has changed in that last year. A buddy of mine teaches AI coding as part of a course he runs called Gauntlet AI. And he had to redo his curriculum because what used to be a 1 week long project is now comfortably 2 or 3 hours of work. Just in the AI space, right? It used to be build and ship this software from scratch, and you'd have to work for a week to iterate into it. And now you can one shot the prompt and just get the result and then tweak it a bit, and it's good to go. The level of AI improvement on comprehension, on research, on understanding all these things it's nuts.
Yeah, and you definitely need to kind of adapt to these things, and especially as a founder, because previously, I think many founders like just as the stage of research, maybe at the beginning of their project, where they dive deep in their competitors in the market, how everything works, think about what I'm going to do, what is my UVP on the market, and but doing this only on their first stage when they launch a company, then there is a lot of
Yeah.
work they need to do, hire, fire, like execute, and there is not time to do this. But in nowadays, you actually do not need like too much time. You do not need an additional. You just get an idea, and okay, I need to check it. I need to make a research on this topic. What is already happening? Who is the best? What can I implement on my business? And this, yeah, ChatGPT deep search functions working surprisingly good. And basically they can find in 15 minutes all ideas that we previously get of the strategic
Yeah, man.
session with the top managers.
Yes, it used to be you'd pay McKinsey 20 grand for a competitive analysis of the market, and now you go to ChatGPT and you say go. You go off, make yourself a coffee, come back, and Deep Search has done all of it for you. I don't understand how McKinsey stays in business these days, but whatever. That's their problem. Um, Let me ask. You speak a lot, actually. Like here, you're sharing insight, information about your expertise. What is when a founder is doing public speaking in the way you are doing it? What is the mistake founders make about how they talk in public? I'll give an example. I've taught for Founder Institute for 8 years now. I've taught like 6,000 founders. I've taught a bunch. I've run workshops, all these things, whatever. I'm not convinced I've ever gotten revenue back from it. It's not something I've done that was a revenue generating activity, even though I've talked to thousands of people. Uh, if you're doing a talk somewhere and you're a founder, like what should they be constructing their talk to do to benefit them, their business, their whatever? Because you do this enough where obviously you're finding value in it.
Actually, first mistake that founders do is not talking at all.
Ah, yes.
Because there is a pride that it could be for like founders with my background whose language like English is not native for them, and they're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this, but they do not understand that for 50% of the people who speak English is not native, and it's not such a
I'm pretty
big
sure.
issue. You can understand each other. And for me, the biggest thing, and why I'm doing this, is to have a real conversation with the real people, because you have this like value proposition, you have your product, you have your features, and you can talk about them all day long. But then you go to talk real people and understand they do not care about like 90% of what you're going to say. And this 5% thing that you do not even think about impress them really well because they like it. And that's where you start to understand the market, because the market is not like the numbers, something like this. Is real people who will use your product in the end of the day. And as a founder, I think it's crucial to have these live chats with the people, because on their like Zoom calls, people wouldn't say something that make you like uncomfortable. And they always try to be like polite, don't speak too much. And the conversation is really changing when you speak to people in person, hear their real appeal, hear how they really use the products, what they need, what they not. And actually public speaking is just sparkle to initiate all those conversations, because as a founder, you really need this conversation, because actually it's your market. These people, you're doing it for them, and you need to understand them, and you need your brains working around it. And if you will sit in the room, and everywhere will be reports from your marketing, I don't know, customer success, sales, and you will look on the reports, you will miss a good chunk of a picture.
Yeah, I think I agree. The biggest mistake is not speaking. I remember years ago I read that the number one fear people have above death is public speaking. And I've done theater for, man, 30 years. So like you can't have a fear of public speaking if you do theater. But also the idea to me that people are more afraid of speaking in public than of just being dead is insane. I think a founder has to grapple with their fear. That's part of being a founder. I think one of those fears you have to conquer is speaking in front of people. Just like you point out, even if it's not your native language. I did a pitch review session in Spanish 3 weeks ago. I don't speak useful Spanish anymore. I used to have like was a wedding photographer, and my clients were all Puerto Rican. So I learned Puerto Rican Spanish, but also like very informal Spanish at that. So I'm trying to give them feedback in their pictures in a language where I maybe know 250 words. And like, was it elegantly done? No. But one, I've never done that before. There's an experience. And two, the founders did still see, despite, yes, this man's Spanish is laughably bad, they're like, oh, but what he's saying is right. And so there's the willingness to go, look at the white dude trying to speak Spanish. Isn't he funny? But also, there's the, okay, but what's trying to come out from here? And if you're able to get across that awkwardness, new opportunities will develop for you. All right, let me ask you. You can probably tell from my background, I like a good book. I think a founder should be putting information in their head. It can't only be out, right? It could be a book, could be an audio book, could be a podcast. There's got to be a way to put new information in your head to help you make new things in your business. What is your recommendation if you were to say to a founder, hey, fiction, nonfiction, audiobook, podcast, whatever, what's something they should consume to be a better founder?
For me, the book that I think should be at the table of every founder is Principles by Ray Dalio. Maybe think about it like something book about finance management or something like this, but actually, I don't know how he made it. He made fantastic work, but there is like every single advice that you need to use as a founder to make an effective company. And just looking at this advice, I started okay, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I'm still not doing anything from these 3 pages. And it's highly valuable to get back and like reevaluate, because about yourself, like you always develop in person, and like I became so much sophisticated, but then you get back to this book. Okay, I'm still not doing it. For this. And I think it's like very valuable because you can be like focused on one book. Usually book boosts just one of the parts of what you're doing, like principles is kind of universal to do to build successful team, make a business, make wise decisions generally. And number two for me it would be a notebook, but I think returning time to time. For somebody, it would be probably controversial, but I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins and his like coaching programs, mostly not because of information I get there, because like main part of information I already got because I watch these trainings, but because an amount of energy it
He's
gives
very
to
good at that.
you. Yeah, because there is one very good idea that constantly goes through his trainings. It's every single most brilliant idea worth nothing without execution. The execution is a key. And when you're executing, you're like a real person. Sometimes you feel like tired, upset, not enough energy. And for me, this is a source of energy. This is a source to feel yourself like a better person, more energy, can do everything. And I can return from time to time back to his masteries and get through some coaching programs and that help me to stay energized.
Hey, that's awesome. I do think keeping up the pace and keeping up the drive as a founder, it is a marathon, as they say, not a sprint. But the problem is to be a top 1% CEO, just like being a top 1% marathon runner, the top marathon runners sprint for the entire marathon.
Yes.
Like, I can't run 500 meters the same speed that a top marathon runner runs 42 kilometers, right? These guys haul butt. And having somebody to coach you in and get you like go more, go faster it is very valuable to not have that burnout dragging at you. So if Tony Robbins does it for you, good for you, man. Whatever it takes to get you up in the morning. One of the things that I, as a founder who I don't do the Tony Robbins thing. Some days are good days, some days are bad days. But one of the like non-negotiables is you can't have 2 0 days in a row. 0 days where you just make no progress on whatever the big thing is. You can have a bad day, right? One day where you're just like, whatever, I'm sick, I had to, all three of my kids were in rotten moods when I went in to get them breakfast this morning, and it was a fight to get them out to whatever. Everything sucks. And then maybe you take one day as a loss, but the next day you've got to show up. But that also means now that I think about it, like today, do I let today be a loss? Because tomorrow might be worse. And I don't want to have to make tomorrow my non-zero day if I could make today my not zero day. And so by forcing yourself into that mental mindset, 0 days are quite rare, right? They still happen every, I don't know, probably once or twice a quarter. I have a day when I'm just like, I'm a useless noodle. Happens sometimes, right? But as long as it's not, you don't let it become a habit. You force yourself out of it. That's okay. We all have bad days. I'll give you a recommendation for a book I like. Maybe you'll like it too. It's called Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. It has some of the same ideas like you think about for principles. It's because as founders, we don't know all the information before we make a decision. You can't.
Yeah.
Only way you can know everything is after the decision was made, you do the post-mortem and you go, oh, that was a terrible decision. Oops. So thinking in bets gives you frameworks and structures and principles for how to make poorly informed decisions, but tend to come out on top more often than not anyway. So that could be a good read. Anybody listening, go check out Principles. Go check out Tony Robbins. The man is an incredible speaker. He is also, have you met him in person? He's 25 feet tall. The man's a giant.
Tony Robbins.
And then Tony,
Yeah, I
he
was
is
on his
he's a tall person.
business mastery, and he's like a huge. And this is amount of energy when you on the
Yes.
on the personal stuff with him. He is just radiating with this energy, and you see this man with this voice like filling all the room
Yeah.
with this palm on the side.
I know his hands are bigger than my entire chest.
Yeah,
This giant, and he always has that weird clap he does,
yeah.
and it sounds like he's smashing two 2x4s together. Just Wow.
Uh,
Yeah, that guy's
just
he's bigger than
just from
life,
his
but he's
presence.
also exactly. Hey, if you're looking for someone like that, Tony Robbins is definitely he can do it for you. All right. Somebody wants to know more about you, Alexander. They want to know more about HypeAuditor. Where do they go find out more online?
HypeAuditor. It's easy.
It's
HypeAuditor.com.
easy.
Obviously, and there's a cool stuff. There's a lot of free things there. Also, there's a free tools who make some check. There is tops of influencers. There are articles in the blog, so you can use it even if you're not going by it. And about me, you can connect to my LinkedIn page by just type in Alexander Frolov, HypeAuditor, and you will find me on LinkedIn. I'm sharing some knowledge over there in the different like podcasts and just posts in my LinkedIn. Hope it's helpful for somebody.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody who's listening. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to this video podcast, however you are consuming this, because every week we have more great content from folks like Alexander. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next week.